right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I would say.
All right. So here's what we saw today at practice. Here's the clip of Tua. All right, and this is you'll see Tua come into focus right now, and the quarterbacks are on the way far side, but you can see him number 13 there in the center of the frame. He's not throwing,
Just doing footwork drills right here.
Yeah, working with Jeff Allen, and I mean, what do you make of this injury, Tony?
Well, you can see he's gripping a football, which is somewhat encouraging. He doesn't appear to be in too much pain. I mean, we're kind of going on what we can see, but he was doing footwork drills. He was out there, which I think is a big step. If it was really bad, he might have not been out there. So,
Sure.
I don't think he's going to come back this spring, but I think he'll be more than okay by the fall. And I think that's really what Alabama is at this point is what they're going for, is just to make sure that this doesn't linger on into the fall, because that's ultimately when they're going to need this quarterback battle to take off. And I think that's they don't want to do anything to hinder that. So even if he was, and I'm not sure he is cleared to play, but even if he was, I wouldn't expect him to do much at an 8A just because out of precautionary measure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was a little bit surprised to see the big cast on his left hand that he posted online the other night. But like Saban says, you got to make sure that this is not something that's going to linger into the season, which I don't think it is. No. I think they're going to – I mean, there's so much time before the actual season. I know everybody wanted to see Jalen and Tua go at it for a day. That's not going to happen. But I do like Mac Jones. We've talked about this before. What do you think about Mac Jones? This is going to be a defensive show, I promise. But the quarterback is a big deal here at Alabama. So what do you think about Mac Jones before we get moving on the show?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really promising guy. And I think he's made a lot of improvements from, where we saw him at this point last year to this year. He's put on a little bit more weight. He looks more the part of a SEC quarterback, which is, I remember last year he was very skinny. So I'm excited to see what he does during the 8A game and just see how much improvement he's made from last year. Depending on what happens, I mean, currently right now, if the season started, he's one play away from being the starting quarterback at Alabama, and you never know what's going to happen. So he's a guy that, will have to be ready depending on, if a few things happen. He might actually find himself in a game in a meaningful situation next season.
All right, this next clip I'm going to play is of Jerry Jeudy. He posted this on social media today. It was a ridiculous catch. Look at that. It's a one-handed snack. Those are some mitts, right?
How fast do you think that ball's going?
I mean, I don't know. Look at that. And then the spin at the end. Let's watch that one more time. This is the reigning A-Day MVP, right? He's not going to be playing on A-Day, unfortunately. He's got a bit of a knee injury, right, Tony?
Right, yeah. He's out, and so is Tyrell Shavers.
Yeah, he's been seen scooting around on a scooter type deal at practice. It's
Tyrell Shavers, and he's got a huge cast on his entire leg.
What exactly is Tyrell Shavers' injury?
It's supposedly a ligament in his toe, but I mean, I don't know why.
He's got a gigantic cast.
It was kind of funny. He was riding not laughing at someone else's pain, but it was a funny sight to see because he was on a stationary bike with only pedaling one leg.
He's still working. Yeah, he's still working. If you're just joining us, this is the Talk of Champions live stream on YouTube. Be sure and follow us on YouTube. Of course, all our coverage is on BamaInsider.com. This is Tony Tsoukalas. My name is Kyle Henderson, along with Andrew Bone, and we just got a commit. Or Alabama did. We didn't, but Alabama just pulled in another commitment. Bring up his info right here, and then we'll talk with Andrew Bone later on, and he'll tell us more about Shane Lee. But as you can see, 6 foot, 235-pound class of 2019 prospect out of Baltimore, Maryland. So Coach Loxley probably on the scene as he works Maryland better than any other coach in the business.
Maryland's becoming a thing for Alabama.
Anoma,
Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Tony. I mean,
Tyrell.
Yabi Anoma, one of the biggest guys coming in as a 5-star. Terrell Lewis, and then Christian Barmore. He's
Christian.
Yeah, he's kind of out of that area too. So
Trayvon Diggs is from that area as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Terrell Lewis is actually from D.C., but we'll count that as
the metro region of D.C. So we'll certainly hear more from Andrew Bone on Shane Lee and talk about what he's got in store joining the class. And now we're going to be talking about the Alabama defensive line, and we'll play this clip right here. This is what we see at practice. And Tony, why don't you just go ahead and talk about the defensive line and give us a little bit of assessment of what you see coming back for Alabama?
I think the most interesting thing we've been seeing on the defensive line is the fact that Quinnen Williams might be a nose tackle. He's somebody that kind of was playing more at the defensive end position last year, but with Deron Payne and both him and Joshua Frazier both gone. Here we're watching Quinnen Williams right now. He's somebody that can step up in the middle. He's a really athletic guy, can really move, and it would be interesting to see how he mans that nose guard position because
absolutely,
yeah, just because Alabama's going to need that position, and I think he actually has the tools and the athleticism to really make a difference there.
What do you think about Raekwon Davis?
Oh, God, the guy's crazy. Earlier
6'7", 307 pounds.
Now imagine that. And earlier today, we learned that he partakes in yoga
I like it.
To allow him to kind of get lower. A big guy like that, 6'7".
No, but he's agile for a big man and not a shred of fat.
Yeah, but for being 6'7", has its disadvantages in a way.
There he is right there. That's Raekwon Davis.
You've got to get low in order to create leverage. And so in order to do that, yoga, which is you don't usually think of a guy that is 6'7", 308 pounds.
Any younger guys that you think are gonna make a splash this year from the D line, like
Brian Ray, I think would be the number one guy. I think that's who we're seeing right now. Definitely someone to watch. Not really a defensive lineman, but Christopher Allen, I think, could be another player that could really emerge. And we're looking at Fidarian Mathis right now.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big guy. And he's another guy that could come in and do that nose guard position as well. So, but a lot of interesting options right there.
Going to switch it up and bring in Tony Tsoukalas and myself. We're on the Talk of Champions live stream. Thanks for joining us. We want you to post your questions in the chat, and we'll take your questions. And I see there's a good amount of chat right now going on the Ustream.
How about
the YouTube channel?
One question I want to know is, who do you guys think's gonna win A-Day MVP?
Oh, there we go.
We're not gonna have a repeat now that Jerry Jeudy's out. So that's one thing I'm interested in seeing. Who does everyone think's gonna win?
MVP.
No Tua, no Jeudy. I mean, there's a
Yeah, but I mean, maybe Jalen Hurts just turns out. How about Damian Harris?
Could be, depending on
Najee Harris.
You think they're gonna try to run it or throw it? I think it might.
I don't know. Like, in my opinion, when I look at the team right now, they're a little bit thin at the receiver position. I mean, I think Henry Ruggs will see a touchdown from him. I think Jalen Hurts, he'll have a nice day. Mac Jones, I'm interested to see how he can do.
How about hometown hero Brian Robinson?
Ooh, I like it. Like it. Yeah. Anyone from the defensive side?
Oh, well, we just talked about Raekwon Davis. He's a guy that's supposedly, according to sources, has been unblockable.
Someone says MVP Najee Harris. Okay,
that could be.
I'll co-sign on. Someone's saying Brian Robinson. Okay, like that.
Jumps over a few people. We saw in some pictures that he was doing that. Yeah, Jalen's another good option as well. I think it'd be nice to see Jalen, do that. He's faced a lot of criticism. We're gonna have a story tomorrow morning about Jalen, and his teammates had a lot of nice things to say about him. And I think a lot of people are taking him for granted. I think that he's someone who could really come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the linebackers, and I'm going to bring up the linebackers, and we'll talk about the linebackers real quick. As you know, Alabama lost Rashaan Evans. Big loss.
Sean Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. Let's play this clip right here, and Tony, why don't you talk about the linebackers?
Yeah, well, as this clip's probably going to show, it starts with Mack Wilson and Dylan Moses. Those are the first two to go up. But another player that has really kind of turned some heads this season is redshirt freshman Markel Benton. I think we'll see him third in reps. And he's somebody that will really provide depth. If you look at the inside linebackers, there's not a lot of depth, so it is going to be important for some of these young guys to kind of step up. You have a guy like McMillan, Vendarius Cowan. Those two guys, are really talented players who could step up next season. Also, you got a guy like Joshua McMillan, could also step into one of those, depth roles, and we saw last year what happens if players get hurt. It's really hard to make it a full season without injuries. So it's really important that guys like, here's Markel Benton right here.
What's your takeaway, early take from Markel Benton?
I like him. I think he's a guy that we've actually got to go out and see at Phoenix City last summer, and it just seems like that redshirt year really did good for him, and he was able to kind of grow and grow into the expectations and the roles that he's going to have to face this season.
What about Ben Davis?
Ben Davis is
like, what is it about Ben Davis?
I think it's just the fact that he's a local kid, and he's a kid that was rated so highly. I think you expect those kids to make it on the field, but at the same time, he still has a lot of time. He's a redshirt sophomore right now, so is it a little bit discouraging that he hasn't had a bigger role? Sure, but I mean, is it totally curtains for him? No, I think he's got plenty of time to develop. We saw Reuben Foster develop late in his career, and I'm not saying that Ben Davis is going to be the next Reuben Foster, but I'm saying that he's a guy that I wouldn't give up on just yet.
We're looking at the outside linebackers right now. There's Terrell Lewis, and that's Jamie Mosley, number 16.
Christopher Allen's a
Chris
guy
Allen,
that's
yep,
really great.
Should have a big year. You have Christian Miller, Anthony Jennings, who's hurt right now, but he'll be back. So outside linebackers completely stacked, especially with Yabi Anoma still yet to arrive on campus.
I don't even know where they're going to fit an Yabi Anoma into
depth.
This.
Yeah, I mean,
one of these things is you got to look. Is there anybody in that unit you think could maybe play inside linebacker? Because they got so much depth at the outside linebacker. You think that maybe could a Chris Allen play inside linebacker? Could he shed some weight and maybe
I think
move inside?
Potentially Chris Allen, and I think potentially Anthony Jennings, just because he's a bigger sized linebacker. I mean, if you look on the roster sheet, Anthony Jennings, 6'3", 265 pounds. It would almost
go against. You need if they were going to do that, they'd have to lose some weight because it would go against Alabama's recent trend of trying to slim down in the middle.
Sure, yeah.
It would create a more powerful yet also a slower defense from what they have. But that's just interesting. I think if you could get a guy like Chris Allen to switch inside, if you need him, if it happens that way, I think that might be interesting. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying that just because they have so much depth at the outside.
Yeah, I certainly think right now defensive line and outside linebacker is the strength of this year's team coming in, at least to the spring game. I mean, the outside linebacker is completely jacked. I think a player like Terrell Lewis is an NFL-bound player after this season.
It's going to be key for him to become a more complete linebacker. We saw with Tim Williams that, was always a great pass rusher, but, just kind of had that one third down role and never progressed out of it. It'd be interesting to see if Terrell Lewis can kind of shift into more of a every down linebacker.
I mean,
at one point.
His wingspan is tremendous. We've seen him a couple times, and I think we saw it last year for A-Day, pick off a pass and return it for a touchdown. He's just got this gigantic wingspan.
He's the biggest home run threat they have in terms of sacks. And, I mean, Raekwon Davis is there too, but you saw what he did in that sack in the overtime of the national championship game where he sacked Jake Fromm. That was a game-changing
Terrell
sack.
Lewis, 6'5", 256 pounds. And he's just tremendously athletic. I mean, he's going to have a fantastic season. And last year, as you know, he was banged up most of the year, came back, played the tail end, but
only played 4 games.
Yeah, so I think this year really want to see a big splash from him. We're going to talk about the secondary now. Alabama, a lot of holes to replace. You lose Minkah Fitzpatrick. You lose Levi Wallace.
The whole dime defense.
Defense.
I mean, you think about it, because you got Tony Brown and
Hootie
gone.
Jones. Hootie Jones gone.
Averett and
Anthony Averett gone.
Levi Wallace and Ronnie Harrison.
Ronnie Harrison.
Yeah.
The unsung hero of the defense. I loved his game.
I mean, at least 3 of those guys could
Whoever
be top
gets him in the NFL draft is going to be happy. I mean, he's a big kid. He can come downhill. Minkah Fitzpatrick just thought the world of Ronnie Harrison. So,
I mean, Ronnie Harrison, Anthony Averett, Minkah Fitzpatrick all could go in the first 2 rounds. And that was all in one defense. And then you got Levi Wallace, who was great as well. So, and then you got freaks of nature like Tony Brown, who
isn't he going to be on the next barbershop?
He is. Tomorrow's Bama Cuts, I think.
Popcorn. Get your popcorn ready. Can you wait? What's he going to say?
Anything.
You don't. Whatever he wants. Did you see the hat he wore to the White House?
Yeah.
It's like this Russian.
Yeah, what is Russian?
Tony Brown. He's going to Tony Brown.
I don't know if he meant that either. I don't know if I don't know what his thought process.
Yes, he meant that. Of course he meant that. All right. We're going to play some clips of the secondary right now. And Tony, why don't you talk about this year's secondary?
Right, well, that's Xavier McKinney right there. He's a guy that could step up in the strong safety position. You got a guy like Jared Maiden right here that can play almost any position on Alabama secondary. There's a lot of those kids that can play almost any position on Alabama secondary. This is Kyrique McDonald. Looks kind of more like the star, maybe a backup star to Shaheem Carter. This is Daniel Wright coming up here. He's
I really like his game.
Hard hitter. A guy in special teams that we really saw just light up people on special teams. I remember one of the first kickoffs in the season opener against Florida State. He just lit up a guy, and he's just a guy that, between him and Xavier McKinney, that's two hard-hitting safeties.
Alabama, as you know, has a new defensive secondary coach, Carl Scott. What are your first takes about Scott?
I haven't seen too much of him.
I like his intensity.
Yeah. He like all the rest of the younger coaches seems to be kind of involved, and that's good to see. Kind of adds to that. He's not too old either. He's kind of adds to that youth movement. He's not ridiculously young, but
number 8 on that far side is Savion Smith.
Yeah. Him and Trayvon Diggs look to be the two starting defensive backs.
Number 5 is Shaheem Carter.
Yeah. I think of him being the
number 7, Trayvon Diggs.
I think of Shaheem being the star at the star position, the nickelback, whatever you want to call it, position this year. I think he's just really suited to that. He's kind of a more bigger defensive back, and that's what you want at that position.
And there's Saban doing his thing. Always on the hop, right? Always on the hop.
Definitely.
Let's see. I got all right, as we transition out of this, just got done talking about the Alabama defensive line, linebackers, secondary. And if you just missed it, Alabama did land another commit in Shane Lee. And we'll have more on that on BamaInsider.com. So you can head on over there, and we will have a complete breakdown of what he brings to the class of 2019.
Probably a guy that they wish they had on their team this year, just to help out with that depth at inside linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the class 2019, I mean, it's starting to come together really nice, and especially when you have Paul Tyson, who is the great-grandson of Bear Bryant. He committed just recently, and I think he's really going to start to steamroll this class 2019. I mean, you've seen all the Alabama coaches start to really tweet that this class 2019 is going to be really amped up.
Well, and I think it's a welcome sight for Alabama fans who have to kind of struggle with a late start in the recruiting process last year. It was kind of a up and down, frustrating year for recruiting last year. So I think seeing this start is really encouraging for Alabama fans who kind of had to put up with a class that they're not usually used to. Alabama's usually used to winning the recruiting battles, and they had a great class last year, but maybe not the one that they were expecting. So it's definitely a great start.
What do you I think Tony and I are gonna try to get together and do another show, probably from hopefully Cypress End. We're still working out the details. Mm-hmm. But, it's a great spot to come and check out. And if you're in Tuscaloosa for a day, make sure and head on over and grab something to eat. I've been there.
One of our favorite places to go.
Yeah, absolutely. They actually have a very good gumbo that I've had before.
And I like the catfish. But.
Yeah, and they got a great view. It overlooks the Black Warrior. We've recently got a ton of rain. So more on that, and hopefully we can bring you one more show. And I think that show, what we'll do is we'll break down A-Day and kind of go over hopefully, when do you think we'll get those rosters?
I'm not actually sure when Alabama.
I don't think we'll get them for Friday or Saturday. But either way, what we'll do is we'll break down A-Day and give our final assessment of what we've seen headed up to A-Day, and then after, hopefully we can do a fan cam where I would like for you, the users, to come down on the Walk of Champions, talk with me, give me your take of A-Day on camera.
Yeah, what you saw from the game.
I'll probably post it around the Nick Saban statue. Just 5 minutes, come talk with me, give you an extra month or two on your subscription, and like to just chop it up and get your take. And that's going to be something new that we do at the end of probably the home games. I think it'd be easier to do a fan cam from the home games, and we'll have video, we'll have complete coverage. Saban is actually going to talk to the media one more time before A-Day, which will be on Thursday evening, correct?
Right, yeah. And that'll be interesting just to see. We'll probably get an update from what's going to happen with Tua Tagovailoa. We expect him to be out, but that's an update, and we'll get to his last thoughts heading into the scrimmage, or I guess the 8-day scrimmage.
Yeah, so we're about to close up, but I wanted to real quickly remind everybody, you guys, this would be a good time before we go to post some questions right now, and we'll get to you before we close up shop. So I'll hand the phone over to Tony real quick. And sure. There should be some questions piping in. Ask any question. You want to talk offense, defense, you want to talk rising freshmen, whatever, just you just pipe it in there, and then we'll get to you. Anything come up yet, Tony?
Yeah, here's one. It's Keith Holcomb, if I can say it, coming back for his senior year?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't know. Alabama would certainly like that because they need that depth at inside linebacker. He's having a good baseball season from what I can tell, and I think he's kind of more focused on baseball right now, but he's one of these guys that, I was talking with Brad Bohannon, the baseball coach, and he was marveling over the fact that, Keith Holcomb can go a whole, 6 months without touching a baseball bat and then come back and be a baseball player. And I think he can kind of do the same thing in football too. He's a guy that really takes care of his body. So I think Alabama will want him back for his senior year and be able to provide, depth at inside linebacker and also a really valuable special teams player.
Let's see if we got some other questions coming in. And by the way, that was a good question. I'm always talking about Keith Holcomb because he's a hometown hero, so to speak, right?
From Tuscaloosa.
Him and Brian Robinson, right? Out of Brian Robinson's at Hillcrest
High School. Both of them are.
Let's see. Other questions coming in. Is Tua done for the year? No.
For the year, I don't know what they mean.
Someone said on Twitter they try to start a flame war, and they're like, "Is Tua done for the? He's done for the year." Of course not.
No, he's still. I mean, he's not dead.
All right, here's another one for you, Tony. I'll pitch this one to you.
Okay.
Who will be the top defensive back this year?
Ooh, that's actually a really good question.
I'm gonna go with Savion Smith.
I'm going to go with Deontay Thompson. He did say defensive back.
Ooh, he did.
So
defensive back or
cornerback. If you're going defensive back, I would say Deontay Thompson. If you're going cornerback, Savion Smith seems to be the most experienced option just because of what he did at LSU. He's got experience being not a starter, but he's got SEC experience. And Trayvon Diggs would also be another guy that's really experienced as well.
We have Ronald Hamilton, you ask, why wasn't Tua just at practice this Saturday? I know everybody probably knows that Tua re-injured his hand, so that's why he wasn't at practice in the scrimmage on Saturday. He's probably there in some capacity, but didn't have any reps.
Or he might have been just having that hand tended to. He might have been getting an evaluation on that. So I don't think he was not there out of spite or anything. I think if he was able to be there, he probably was there. And we didn't get to see the scrimmage, so we don't actually know if he was there or not. But my initial thought would be that if he wasn't there, it was because he's probably getting that hand evaluated.
All right, I like this username. Moneybag D. He asks, how is Najee doing?
Najee looks great.
He looks great. Great is an understatement. He looks like he's ready for the NFL.
Definitely. Him and Brian Robinson. And now those are two of the biggest guys that I'm excited to see during the 8-day game. So
don't sleep on Brian Robinson.
Yeah, somebody said Najee for MVP. That could be
it. Yeah, I mean, could be.
Last 8-day game we saw him hurdle someone. So
that's his thing. That's his signature deal, right?
I'm not sure how much Saban likes that.
I don't know how much I like that. I think. Don't get me wrong. I like to replay the gifs and the vines and all that stuff, but. I don't know if that. I mean,
there was one time he hurdled someone last year and he got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, he got flown up in the air. But truth be told, Najee just has, I mean, the DNA to be Alabama's next really big time running back, in my opinion. 6'2", 230 pounds. He runs hard. He's strong.
He can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
He has that. He's quiet though. He's not really.
Doesn't like the media.
He doesn't really like the media. Doesn't seem to want the attention to himself. I like all of Alabama's running backs. I mean, Damian Harris as well. I mean, we talked about this last time on the show. Just, I mean, what an intellectual person he is. He's great. I love talking to him. Great interview.
Yeah, I think Damian Harris could be like a commentator later on in his career if he wanted to do that.
How about this one? Is Isaiah Buggs going to start?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, and he's somebody that you should be really excited about as an Alabama fan. having him and Raekwon Davis on the same defensive line is going to be great. Raekwon Davis is more of a passing threat, but Isaiah Bucks is somebody that's so good against the run, and he kind of almost reminds me of, he gets underrated, kind of like a Dalvin Tomlinson type, where everyone was focusing on Jonathan Allen, and you got a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson. That's who he reminds me of, just in terms of kind of flying under the radar, but still being such a productive player.
And I think he's really improved even since last year. I mean, just watching him hit the bags, he steps up. He's one of the first in line. If it's not Raekwon, it's him. Very strong, good agility, and it's Roland, not Ronald. I butchered this guy's name, so I have to say Roland. My bad, Roland.
And he's a leader. He is probably maybe the biggest leader on that defensive line.
Which they need.
Yeah. We were talking to Raekwon Davis, and he said when Isaiah Bugs says something, people listen. He brings an energy, and that's really important. I think the biggest thing is he brings an energy to that unit in practice. He earlier this spring, he said something to the extent of he wants to be a player that Nick Saban steps back and says, I need more of these players on my defense. And then just hearing him say that, that's just shows his character and what he's all about. And hardworking kid from JUCO, had to really work his way up, didn't have any offers coming out of high school. So a kid that gets it, a kid that's, that really works hard for everything he has.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty good for the show. I mean, like I said, we're going to try to bring you another show right before A-Day, and we appreciate you joining us tonight. And I wanted to bring up real quick, if you really want to give BamaInsider.com a trial, now is the perfect time. We got the A-Day promo running. Buy a subscription, get free time. And what free time means is you can get an opportunity to get the website free at no cost. So if you want to sign up for an annual subscription, you can get 6 months to the back end. If you're a new monthly sub, you can get 3 months for free. And the promo code is ADAY2018. And if you have any questions about signing up for a premium subscription, you can contact me, Kyle Henderson. My email is kyle@bamainsider.com. Tony and I are here in Tuscaloosa. We go to practice. We're not doing this from someplace else. I mean, this is our full-time job. We dig deep in the team. Tony does a great job with the team content. We also have Andrew Bone who does our recruiting content, and he'll have more stuff on Shane Lee. We'll wrap up the program by saying thank you. Thank you for all the questions. Please spread the word about the show. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on BamaInsider.com. Follow us on Twitter @BamaInsider. My name is Kyle Henderson. He's Tony Tsoukalas. Thanks for joining us. Be good people out there. We'll catch you at A-Day. Hopefully, talk to you one more time before the spring game, and, of course, bring you Nick Saban's live press conference Thursday night. Anything else, Tony?
I think you covered it, man.
We'll close out the show. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you soon on BamaInsider.com.